Everything calls for a little more calm. Until when does the body ask for a little more soul? Leader, accelerate, hurry. I refuse. I take my time, I go with the waltz. Life is so. While everyone waits for a cure for evil and madness, they pretend this is all normal. I pretend to be patient. When it spins faster and faster, we expect from the world expects from us a little more patience. Time that you lack to realize. Time to lose? No. Life is so rare. So rare. Even when everything calls for a little more calm, even when the body asks for a little more soul, life doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. Is it time that you lack to realize? Do we have that time to lose? And who wants to know? Life is so rare. Even when everything calls for a little more calm, even when the body asks for a little more soul, I know. Life doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. Of life. That is so expensive. Life is so fast. Life is so rare. Life doesn't stop. Good night. It is with great joy that we begin another program, Spiritual Direction. This song is called Patience. Science is an inner movement, right? That makes us. I believe it has the power to make us perceive life, the delicacies of time, because without patience we can run the risk of not perceiving what truly deserves to be perceived. That's when we go on living. The poet was very wise in construction of these lyrics, right? It's a partnership between Leonine and Dudu Falcão. Dudu Falcão is one of the greatest lyricists in Brazilian popular music. This song is here recorded on the CD Deus no Ocultejo do Verso. I've always liked it. Since the first time I heard this song, I felt it. It's an evangelical proposal in itself, diving into the heart of patience. Realizing the rarity of life is so beautiful in us. When we pay attention, perceive what is rare in life. Sometimes our eyes, so hurried, do not lead us to the heart of this reality. The book of Ecclesiastes has a passage. It's that I really like. Everything has its time, which is there in the 3rd chapter. Everything has its time. There's an opportune moment for everything under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot what was planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to destroy, a time to build, a time to weep, a time to laugh, to lament, to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather, a time to embrace and a time to turn away from the arms, from embraces, a time to search, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for war, a time for peace. We kill our lives. We kill the opportunity to live well because we are not able to correctly read what time is asking of us. Why is that? Each day time will ask something of us. It is this attentive look that will give us this condition, this clarity, to perceive what is really crying out for my name today, what is really calling for today, what is the reality today that cannot be postponed. My people, sometimes we are so negligent in perceiving this, because sometimes we waste a month, a year, 10 or 20, putting our effort into a reality that was not even meant for that moment. And that is why it is so interesting for us to develop the ability to say no and say yes, which is a skill that only maturity brings us. Because sometimes, because we are immature, we don't even know how to say no. We don't know how to look at the urgencies of time. So we live to please others. Before pleasing others, you need to realize what life is asking of you, because it's not always what the other person wants, what you can do to please others. Is it in line with what life is asking of you? Even if for us to grow, we have to have the courage to cut out many, many things. The sacred scripture says, a time to kill, a time to give birth. Everything depends on a sharp perception. We need to have to look at the present moment and discover what truly deserves our commitment. How many times in my life have I committed myself in the wrong place, on the wrong issue, and then there is no way to be happy? There is no way for me to discover contentment, knowing that my commitment was not where I should have committed myself. There is no possibility of me feeling fulfilled, of feeling good about my choices, because what will make me feel good? It is looking at the context of my choices and being comfortable with what was chosen. It is interesting because it is sometimes our way of living. To deprive ourselves of even this perception, we are very strange to ourselves. It is not strange to the other. It is not strange to ourselves, strange to ourselves. The song says, isn't that sometimes we are soulless? The body needs a soul. Yes, I need sustenance in my life. I need to give meaning to my matter. I need to put soul into everything. That's me, even in the house where I live. I always leave the house and live. Now I was, 17 days away from home because I had a long weekend. It's the event I had in Moringa after the pilgrimage, and from the pilgrimage, it was on to the event in Recife, and 17 days without stepping on my ears in my house. And life has taught me that home is not a cluster of walls. Home is a feeling that occurs to me. It's not just material construction. No, when I enter those walls that I built with my work, there I identify the soul that sustains me. It's a feeling that occurs to me. We who have returned from pilgrimage now, I'm sure we all experience this when we open the door of the house. When we enter, it's a good feeling that occurs to us. Is this soul? It's when matter is full of meaning. It's when we begin to attribute a meaning that goes beyond the walls. The furniture, the roof, or the garden slab, the entrance gate. It's a feeling that welcomes us. And it's interesting that the quality of our life is intimately linked to our ability to deposit soul in things. I'm not talking about this soul, the deeper meaning of our life, the spiritual dimension that is salt, right? What connects me to eternity? No, I'm talking about everything I've experienced. And what does matter make sense of? What does that which is material give meaning to? So we use the term soul inappropriately, Marilia, and realize that my objects are permeated by a meaning that goes beyond matter. As Rubem Alves said, right? There are things that are more than things. They are things that make us remember. This is becoming a sacramental. Just as I bring back a souvenir from a trip, for me it is simply a sacramental of something that was good, that was lived, that was experienced, that did me good. But now, in my opportunity to put soul into this, in this unique opportunity, one have to live my life well every day and thus breathe air into all of this. In the same way I perceive this other soul in the things in my home when I return for a feeling that occurs to me. Living well, bringing me the awareness that today, when I observe the urgencies of my life and commit myself to these urgencies, I am putting soul into my body, along with the separatist vision. It doesn't fit with Christian theology. I know. This is just didactic. This separation is just didactic. It all works together. Body and soul are there, even though they are. Distinct realities work together. It is unity. We proclaim the unity of all this. Now, when I perceive, when I identify that I am not doing, that I'm not striving to live well, I am weakening the resources of my soul, which are precisely to help me live my own life well. They work together, really, and we often neglect to observe temor, as the scripture says. The sacred writer says precisely this: a time to cry and a time to laugh. Are there moments when life itself shows a need to cry, to judge out its excesses, to not be afraid of sadness, to allow this sadness to fit within us? In the streets, riches, may it help us find the precious stone that only suffering could lead us to know. Then comes laughter. Laughter doesn't come by chance. We've already sung that song too, right? I walk slowly because I've been in a hurry, and I wear this smile because I cried too much. A smile is the result of a well-cried tear. A smile is the end result of a process of struggle that we establish, of observing day by day. What commitment does that day ask of me? What do I need to do today to have the right to smile tomorrow? And it's good, because as we go through hardships, knowing that it will be constructive, small smiles are already emerging throughout this process. When we talk about a final smile, it's just a metaphor for a process well done, well lived, a time to embrace, a time to distance. So much suffering, right? To realize distance is necessary for the growth of the other. It's that child who leaves to study. Can't we keep children? That's why it's time to embrace and time to care. It's time to be together. And there will come a time when this distance will be necessary for the course of life itself. Then it returns. But initially, we need distance. It's the urgency of the day. The time has come. We need to study. We need to seek a future outside of here. When we observe the movement of time and its urgencies, we enter within the context of wisdom, undeniable, our human achievement. Time to tear, time to sow. If we don't have the courage, often to tear, some realities. Afterwards, we will never be able to live. Her liberation today, I even wrote about it. Many times we lament, losing, and when in fact we will observe. What we lost, it wasn't a loss, it was liberation. How many relationships need to be torn apart so that later they can be sewn together in the right way? To make all the illusions we have of the other, or all the pretensions we judge upon the other fall to the ground. The other doesn't have to meet my expectations. The other has to be him. And if by chance there was an empathy with me, there we build a relationship of friendship, if not just a relationship of respect. But it is necessary to tear apart. We can live the confrontation that will later provoke a liberation in us. Anyway, life will always ask of us an observation. Life will always ask of us calm, patience, because in a hurry we overlook all these needs. That we are not able to recognize them? Have you stopped to think about it? Because sometimes life is not working out. It is because you do not even know exactly what you need. Sometimes we are so distressed, so anguish. 12. And we know why, sure by Kareen. Did we fail to get to the key point? We failed to discover the nerve center there. Where is it really beginning? Patience. We do not even have the patience to find out. What is causing us anguish is our haste. It is the strange life that we are going to live.